Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the 8th of a series of basic Python programming course. I'm Sarjun and you can call me Sarj. I'm a data scientist, a data science trainer, and a mentor to the youth. So before we start today's session, please follow me on my socials as I'm trying to reach out to as many people as possible. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Please subscribe, send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks. Now, getting on to today's segment. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at packages. So, what are these packages? Okay, this is a bit of a sidetrack away from the routine. I'm going to be looking at a bit of what we can actually download from the online community, in the sense, whichever is in the open source platform. Some packages, I'm not going to cover all the packages, it's impossible, right? So, before I start with what packages, I would like to say what would packages do, what is their purpose, and how they are going to help us better our code, our programs. So the use of packages allows programmers to install, import, and load packages built by programmers and developers in the open source community, as I mentioned, right? This reduces the need to redevelop the wheel. The wheel meaning, example, you need to do some calculation, and the calculation is already, somewhat industry recognized, right? So someone would have already built that formula, that functions, and that methods. Then you do not need to rebuild unless you really want to customize your calculation. But most of the customization should be inside that package itself. That actually makes it a lot more easier for you to just download it directly in the form of what we call pip install, right? So in order to do those kind of analysis, you need to go into your, let me get down an Anaconda prompt, okay? And if you want to download a package that's not inside the system, you need to pip install the package name, right? ABC package example. And when you do pip install ABC package, it should already install. Sometimes certain packages you can just conda install. It will work, but usually most packages that are not part of the conda community, you have to pip install, right? So usually all this you can get it online. Online it will actually give you a good sense of. Let me show you. Pip install. Let's say NumPy, right? NumPy comes with the Anaconda package, but you can actually install it using pip install, right? So this is the example. Pip install NumPy. You can actually do it if you do not install it with the Anaconda package, right? For us, that's not needed. We've already installed most of our packages that we're going to be using today. Most of it is in the Anaconda distribution. It's just that how do we use them? How do we import them? Yeah, so we're going to be looking at so before we move into that, so one last point let me cover. So this also allows consistency across different programmers, developers when installing specific libraries. So example, if I am using NumPy packages, when I'm using pandas, and if another colleague of mine needs to run certain codes, he just needs to install the same pandas or NumPy library and the codes should work. So it's universal in a sense, right? Unless if I'm using codes in my system, my own calculations and my own formulas, then I need to kind of modularize it and make my own package. Make my own package. I should do that. Anyway, make my own package and distribute it, and then only my colleagues can run that programs. If not, they have to similarly create those formulas and all that in order for it to work, which kind of isn't that productive, especially in the longer term, right? Okay, so today we're going to be looking at three packages: random, math, date and time, and time. So I've put date and time together because I know it's a bit weird, right? I'm saying date and time, but they are two separate packages. So you need to see how they work. I'm just showing you similarities and differences between them, right? So the package math comes with the Anaconda distribution. So I'm going to, the package random comes with the Anaconda distribution. So I'm going to import the package random by using the word import random, right? And I'm going to access this random number generation function. So this random number generation function is just going to randomly generate a number. So in order for me to do that, I'm just going to use what we call the random method from the random library. So it's a bit weird the way that I'm going to do this, but this is how it actually works. So random value equals to random dot random, right? And I open bracket, close bracket. So it's the random method in the random library, right? So just to show you, let me just print random value just to show you. You can see that actually a random value is generated. So this random value is a random number that is generated for us based off this random library, right? And then there's this method inside the random library called random. So that's why we use a random method on the random library, right? At the same time, to access a random integer number, right, we also have another function, right? It's called the randint, right? And this randint takes two numbers. The first parameter is the start, and the second parameter is the end, like the range, right? So how do I do it? Rand int value equals to random dot rand int, and I pass in 1 as the first parameter and 100 as the second parameter. In this case, let me try to print just this rand int value. I'm not going to print the earlier one, so that I want to show you the difference. So you can see the value is 87. So this 87 value is between 1 and 100. So let me run this again. The number changes. So every time I run, the number is different. This is similar to the ran between in Excel, right? Similar, right? So you can see every time I run this, it gives me a different number. So with that said, I just need to display both variables. So print random value and print rand int value, right? So it prints both, right? Just to show you how it's done. Okay. Okay. There's also another particular method that I like to use from random, right? The library random is this sample method. So we studied list variables earlier, right? So I import random and I create a list variable items. So I call these items equals to this value. Okay, I'm just going to copy it and paste it here. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To access the sample function in the random library, I'm going to use the sample method. So I'm going to assign a sample value. Okay, sample value, this sample value, it comes from this random sample. Okay, so I'm going to take this sample value from this items value, and it's going to be a random sample, right? So let's say how this works. So it's going to choose between 0 to 9. This is the items I'm passing in, and it's going to choose one value. So I'm only going to choose one. So to do one, I type random sample. Then I tell, okay, where do I sample from? Items. So I'm passing in items. How many do I want to sample? Just one, right? And I want to print it out. Print sample value. You can see this time it's selected 2. Okay, let's try it again. It's selected 9. I run it again. Selected 5. I run it again. Selected 0. I run it again. So it's always going to be any sample number from this 0 to 9. Obviously, if there's going to be 11 or 12, it doesn't make sense because it's not inside my sample, inside my items, right? So it's not going to sample it. But it must be the values inside here. So this is where I'm sampling from a list of values that I've already provided. I can also sample values, right? Instead of just one, I can sample multiple as well. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this here. So I'm going to call values. I'm going to sample more than one. I'm going to pass in 5. Right? In this case, if I print both out, let me print both out. Sample values. Wait, sample value. And print sample values. You can see that I've sampled 1 here and I've sampled 5 here. Right? 5 different values for the second print statement. Okay, your task. Take 5 minutes, right? Import package random, import and import random, right? And then assign a variable radius value using randint method from the random library with values ranging from 1 to 10, then display the variable radius value. Okay, try it out. Okay, so this is actually quite simple, right? Import random radius value. All I need is a value from 1 to 10, right? So it's random dot r. You also can use the sample method as well, but for sample method, you need to pass in a list of 10. I can already do it with this randint function, so that kind of cut makes it faster for me to just do this. That's all. This is my code, right? So every time I run it, it's between 1 and 10, right? Yeah, so I just keep running it. Yeah. So that's how you run your random packages, right? Okay, moving on. The package math has also useful tools, right? The package, it has pi. There is certain aspects that you can use from math, right? Square root and all that, right? So it is a good practice to use this math package if you are using any kind of calculations that you need to use for your for your, for your numbers and all. Okay, so for this case, we're going to use import math. It's called math, import math. Okay, and I'm going to create. I'm going to square root 25, and I'm going to set it to the value square root value, right here. So I do a math. So I call out math, the math pack library dot. Okay, you can also do a tab. So a tab will tell you what are all the functions that this math have. So I'm going to take out square root. You know the tangents and all that. Right, I'm going to pass in 25, and then I'm going to print this variable out. Print sqrt value. It's 5.0. Simple, right? Okay. Again, a quick task. Import the package math and the package random. Access the pi function in the math library. Use pi. Assign a variable radius value using the randint method from the random library with values ranging from 1 to 10. Assign a variable area with the math library pi multiplied by radius value to the power of 2. This is basically area, right? And then you want to calculate it so that you have a value. So here I'm calculating the radius of, let me be, basically it's pi r squared, right? So pi r squared is for the area of a circle. So I better write it down. Area of a circle, area circle, right? And area circle, right? Just to be sure. So area circle with the math library. Okay, just pause the video and try it out, and I'll go through it soon. Okay, so you have to import both the math and import random libraries. If you have already done that, you move on to set your radius value. I think we did this earlier in the earlier question, so it's a lead on this question, right? 1 to 10, and let's see. Let me see something. Rand integer random. Just want to show you all. Yeah, so rand integer, it returns a number between 3 and 9, both included. Just want to check that, right? So I put 3 and 9, it includes 3 and 9. So it's not exclusive, right? So just want to be sure about this, right? Okay. So this rand integer between, and then area circle is equals to math dot pi times, not radius value times 2, right? And then you print your radius value as well as print your area circle. So you get 4, and then you get 8, you get 1 get 1 again, get 10, 10 gives you 3.14, blah blah blah, and all that. Yep. Okay, so that's for math package. Okay, let's get on to date and time. Okay, the date and time is a very useful package as well because it allows you to manipulate time. And when you're usually looking at data, data is usually quite time categorized, right? There's time components, so you need to make sure that you have, you know how to manipulate time as well, right? So use manipulate time, manipulate the time, the date time data, not manipulate date time. Time. It's not like you are some time warping master, right? So you manipulate the data, right? So today, let's import date time and assign a variable to date with, not with, equals to, right? Just literally typing out what I'm saying. Date time dot date dot today, and you can print it out. So it's very simple. I'm just extracting today's date using datetime.date.today. It's 8th of November 2022, right? That's 8 November 2022, right? So that's how this works, right? Now, import the package datetime. Okay, again, import datetime. Add a variable now date. Now date is equals to datetime dot datetime dot now. Okay, this is another method, but if you look at it, if you click now date, it will give you the date and the time as well. So if you use date time dot date, it gives you just the date. But if you use date time dot date time, it gives you the date time, date and time. I mean, right? So that's date time. Moving on. What about time? There's also a package called time, right? So let's import time. Time is very useful if you want to calculate differences between how long you take to run a program. You want to see the start time and the stop time. You want to see how long that the program runs, right? So what you can do is you can set now time 1 equals to time dot time. Okay, so this is the first time you're setting. Then I'm going to use time dot sleep. So time dot sleep is just going to let the computer just sleep, take some time for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. It's going to just sleep for 5 seconds, and then you're going to start running the next command. So at that time, it's going to stop and technically sleep, stop running for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you will go on to the next line, right? It's just sometimes you just need to waste time. I don't know. So it's good to do this kind of techniques, especially when you're running APIs. You don't want to run the API many times within a minute. So you need to sleep the timing for some time before you could call another API, right? Certain APIs, if you call many times, they kind of lock you and block you from accessing their APIs. So there are these kind of things. So you need to look and see how you can evade these kind of limitations, right? Okay, so I'm going to create another one more variable called now time2, which is set to time.time, and I'm going to display both outputs. Now time 1 and now time 2. Okay, you can see it's taking a very long time because it's sleeping for 5 seconds before it displays the output. So you can see that there is actually, look at the difference, 41 here and 46 here, about 5 seconds thereabouts, right? And this is all the microseconds. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of this number, right? It's just the time that's being counted, right? Okay, now this is your task. You're supposed to import the package date time. Okay, import the package time. You are supposed to assign a variable now1 with the datetime library, datetime method with the now method, initiate a time sleep of 5 seconds, and then assign now2 with the same as before, then find the difference between them and display the value as difference value. You're supposed to do the same thing this time with import time as well. That's your next task. You're going to save it as now time 1, and then let the library sleep, and then do now time 2, and then you're going to find the difference value in time and then display it as well. Okay, so let's see how we can do this. Okay, so I'm going to import date time, import time. Actually, I don't need to import time for this question, but for the next question I have to. So now 1 is equals to date time dot now, right? And then time dot sleep 5 seconds, and then now 2 is equals to date time dot now, and I'm going to find the difference value is equals to now 2 minus now 1. Because if I do it the other way, it's negative time, so I want to do it with the later time minus the earlier time or older time. Okay, so when I run this, the answer should be about 5 seconds. So you can see it's 5 seconds here, right? So it makes sense, right? Obviously not a perfect 5 because time, there are minute second differences. So I'm going to do the same thing, import time. I'm going to set now time, not time 1, is now time 1 equals to time dot time. I'm going to do a time dot sleep for 5 seconds, and then a now time 2 equals to time dot time, and I'm going to minus them and find the difference value equals to now time 2 minus now time 1, and I'm going to print the difference value. It takes about 5 seconds to run. Yep, and you can see it's 5 seconds. But the format in which they are written is very different, right? One is in a number value, while one is in time format. So you really need to look at how you want your data to be in, what is the format you're looking at, and stuff like that, right? So with that said, we are at the end of today's segment. I'll see you in the next lecture. Okay, please do follow me on my socials, and yeah, that's all.